Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the download from 24 IT Services. We've got another fantastic show lined up for you today, and a returning guest, actually. What I best do, I best move over to my co-host in the room today. We're joined by TwentyFour from LX Hygiene, or Lex Hygiene, sorry. Getting my words mixed up already, Stephen. I don't know. How are you doing this week, Stephen? Are you coping okay with the heat?
Yeah, it's been very good. Boss has been asking me why I keep being out in the car. Reason being, it's got aircon. It's very cold. Yeah,
Air
and the office
conditioning.
has.
Yeah, I have to admit, I walked out of the office yesterday. Of course, it's relatively cool in here. I think if I have a look at my little temperature thing on the wall, with me having the 3D printer in the room, I have temperature sensors everywhere. It says it's what 23 degrees in this office at the moment, but it is quite a small space.
Yeah, it's very nice in here.
Yeah, but I walked out yesterday and it was like hitting that wall of hot air. You know, like when you go on holiday, you like get off the plane, it's just like, whoa, what's going on, sort of thing.
Yeah,
It was like that
definitely.
walking out into the car park.
Yeah, we still have to go to work.
Yeah. By the time I'd walked that few steps to the car, I was like drenched. I was like, oh my God. But yes, starting off this week, this is actually my first week back recording since I had Pippa on the 3rd of June. Of course, we had the What's Next conference on the 10th, which I'd scheduled to be off for anyway. But last week, I came down with tonsillitis. I haven't had tonsillitis since I was young. I'll put it that way. I just couldn't talk. I worded it to someone yesterday like it was like talking or whispering through sandpaper. It was absolutely terrible. I just could not do anything. In fact, I'm still finishing off the last little bits of medication, but I'm thankfully, as you can hear, I can talk again now, and it's not painful anymore. It was like, yeah, it was awful. But yeah, back to normal speaking again now, and back to being able to do things. I'm going out tomorrow to Carr Fenton Foundation actually to host a talk with their students about AI and cybersecurity and stuff like that. So that'll be nice. So I'm glad I can talk again for that. But yeah, let's get into the news for this week, I suppose. So there's been a lot of news over the last couple of weeks, obviously, with not having a recording since the beginning of the month. But I wanted to start with a bit of AI news, actually. So, for those that don't know, Claude, the AI model, which is owned by Anthropic, released their safe for public use model of both Mythos 5 and Fable 5 on the 9th of June. However, that didn't last very long. On the 12th of June, Anthropic were forced to restrict access to the new model for both foreign nationals inside and outside of the US, even if they were Anthropic employees following a directive from the US government. So, what's that? 3 days worth of operation time. This, of course, it was hard for them to be able to target specific individuals, especially people also within their own company as well. So they just disabled the model for all, everywhere in the world, just to make sure that they were compliant with the US government. Um, Anthropic's statement about this ban said that the government believes it had become aware of methods of bypassing or jailbreaking Fable 5 following demonstrations, and they were able to identify a number of minor vulnerabilities. However, they noted that nobody had uncovered a universal jailbreak, that if anything, many users had also reported that new safeguards were potentially overly broad. So that was interesting to be able to hear. Um, but it is worth noting that Anthropic are also involved in a separate ongoing lawsuit over an order to stop the government agencies using the company's AI tools, and that representatives of Anthropic actually immediately went to Washington following this ban to meet with government officials about this order. I actually read on Apple News, I think it was this morning actually, that according to a report from The Economist this past week, Anthropic's Mythos cyber model, which is the one that was released before the public release, was able to break into almost all classified systems belonging to the National Security Agency, or the NSA, who is one of the most high-ranking, most powerful intelligence agencies in the US government, if not in the world. Apparently, it was able to break into all of these classified systems within hours during a controlled security evaluation. So yeah, that's slightly terrifying. But what's interesting from this is that competing models from similar providers, which statistics are even showing offer competing results to Mythos, haven't been shut down. So things like ChatGPT 5.5 cyber model, which I think was only released recently, and is currently only in the hands of government agencies and cybersecurity companies, that's not been shut down, but Anthropic's model has.
So is it Anthropic because they won't allow the government to use it? They've done something,
There was something that had gone
is it
on.
that?
Yeah, so basically, the US government wanted certain access or the ability to be able to have deeper access into Anthropic's. This, from what I understand, by the way, I'm don't quote me verbatim on this, but from what I understand, is the U.S. government wanted some certain level of higher level access into Anthropic's models to be able to have a look at what particular users might have been doing, snooping environments, however you want to be able to look at that. But yes, they wanted deeper level access into Anthropic systems and how their models were being used. And Anthropic basically turned around and said, no. And then the government put a ban on Anthropic's models being used. So that then started this whole lawsuit that's happening at the moment. But then off of the back of that, of course, Anthropic released these new models, and suddenly the US government turn around and say, no, you can't do that. We're controlling what you do now, and you cannot release this new model to the world.
Wow.
I suppose the question around this, though, is if security vulnerabilities in Fable 5 were uncovered, do you think that just a blanket ban request for all would have been more sensible, or was this just the US government's way of backing Anthropic into a corner and saying, we're going to give you this really unreasonable request to only allow US citizens that are based in the US and no foreign nationals that are based in the US to be able to access this? Is this just them just being like intentionally awkward so that Anthropic just go, okay, we'll just block it for everyone?
Yeah, well, it could be to get access to the information that they want if they want to be able to use and release their latest model in the market. The government saying there's a blanket ban because they can't get their way.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's quite a rabbit hole we could go down with that one. But
Well, I suppose that is the next question, then, isn't it?
yeah,
Do you think that any government has the right to be able to restrict access to new models created by these private firms if that government feels it's too dangerous? Should that have been a more localized approach? Should I don't know? Maybe we're getting into a much bigger discussion with this. If, say, for example, there is an AI model released into the world, whether it's Anthropic, whether it's OpenAI's ChatGPT, whether it's Gemini or something elsewhere in the world, should governments have the right to be able to shut these things down, or should there be some form of larger, either national or multinational advisory group reviewing the safe and secure development of these new models?
I think this is the new gold rush, isn't it?
Yeah.
If the governments are there to protect us, the citizens, I would
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, you
If
would
you've
hope.
got access to a system that could potentially open up vulnerabilities within securities
Yeah.
for everybody, then yeah, there should be some restrictions put in place. You can't sell alcohol to under 18s.
Exactly.
You can't buy cigarettes. However,
Or go on
I think
social media now. That's
also on social media.
that's another thing in tech. We'll come back to that one shortly. But yeah,
But I think there's got to be they've got to put some restrictions on them, certainly with the speed and development capabilities of AI. It's only 2003, I think it was October, November 2003, 2023, sorry, that the chat GPT kind of went global.
yeah.
And the speed
First
and the
public
things you can do
models. Yeah.
now in such a short period of time for technology is incredible.
Oh, the
They've
way
got a
that
limit,
it's
haven't they?
progressed over this past few years is phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's no wonder that we're now seeing this increase in prices of things like RAM and storage because basically everyone's just investing in data centers, investing in developing these new models and basically trying to beat out the competition now, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I suppose, yes, people like Anthropic, people like OpenAI, they're releasing, when they develop these new cyber models, for example, they're not releasing these publicly. I mean, let's go back to Mythos, for example. Mythos, when it was released privately to governments and cybersecurity professionals and businesses around the world. When people were doing testing on Mythos, they'd tasked it with getting out of an air-gapped system. And they'd said, report to me, this was a security researcher, said, report to me once you've gotten out of this system. The guy had gone to lunch and received a notification from his phone from the AI model saying, I've got out. And then the AI model then proceeded to go onto the dark web and post how it did it without being
Wow.
instructed to do so.
Hmm.
I mean, thankfully, they're not releasing those models to the public because that would be dangerous. But it's only a matter of time before those models do become readily available.
Well, I think you've just said it itself. It's got out.
Yeah.
If it's got out, yeah, reminds me a little bit of Venom. There's always a little bit of Venom left. Gets into something we don't know where, but there's always a little bit traveling around somewhere, isn't
Yeah. It's, what was it, the end of the last Spider-Man film where they brought in all of the different characters from the multiverse, and then in the end credits you've got like that little bit of Venom still on the bar or something like that. Anyway, we're getting away from it now. We're getting away from it now. But yeah, you're completely right. Is that eventually these models will get out there. These models will be developed by, or similar models will be developed by other people. They could be developed by cyber criminals themselves. And it's only a matter of time before these people start using these models against businesses, governments around the world. So I suppose that, yes, maybe there should be certain restrictions in place, but also it's about understanding the responsible use of AI and how people can also protect themselves from it.
Yeah, I do think there does need to be, the continual human oversight and
Yeah.
management of this AI as opposed to letting it go. Asking it, can you escape from this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can. I'll find a way to do it. And I think, you know, uh, we use some really good environments like Notebook LM where it only reads and talks about the data that you put into it. And that's really good when we're trying to do some case studies on work we've carried out within our industry. And it only looks at that data, and that's great. But that's when I'm trying to find out the information and come up with a story or a post around some of the different things that we've done previously.
Yeah.
That's great, but actually when you've got something that's gone to the just open market, we've all heard about AI hallucinating about these different things. Well,
Yeah. We've even got an article about that if anyone wants to be able to check that out, by the way.
I just think we can't allow AI to just have free reign and just go. It's got no conscience.
No.
It will do what it decides it's doing. I think.
It requires structured oversight. It requires a knowledge of what it's going to be doing. I mean, let's have a look at people who vibe code, for example, who create applications, create tools from platforms such as Claude. I mean, we're using Claude as an example here because it's part of this news story, but there's also other models from ChatGPT as well. But people are creating now or using AI to create code if they don't have any coding experience, but they don't also understand the security implications of these.
Yeah.
Like they're creating applications, releasing them into the world, creating web applications potentially as well that have got numerous security holes in them.
Yeah.
There's no management of how these tools are being developed. And again, people aren't testing them before they're then released into the wild. I mean, there was, again, I'm trying to remember some of these stories that we've covered over the past year. There was the McDonald's, what was it, like a HR chatbot that was released that had been vibe coded. And people were able to then use a security vulnerability in this McDonald's AI chatbot on their recruitment site to then find all of the people that have been applying for jobs to McDonald's.
Wow.
Like, they need to do better. People who are using these tools to create applications, to code as well, need to do a better job of independently security penetration testing these applications. Yeah, it just requires more oversight from people and more understanding of what these tools are capable of.
And where would they get the ability to be able to, get that protection and get someone to do penetration testing on these apps or these vibe coding, especially, if you're building it in your bedroom or in
Yeah.
your spare room and it's a great tool, it works for you, it works for your business, and you think it's fantastic, but actually you're not aware of the security flaws that it's got or the holes in it.
I
Is
think
there a
it,
company or is there a way that people can send these apps off to get them tested?
yeah, so there's a few different things to be able to consider with this. So if people are creating an application or creating a tool for their own use, maybe it's not being released onto the internet, it's not being released into app stores, so on and so forth. If it's created for personal use, for personal tasks and things, then potentially it doesn't need any sort of penetration testing unless you're linking it in with certain data and databases that you feel needs protecting. However, as soon as you start thinking about developing these tools for public use, for business use, then they need to be independently validated by certified penetration testers. I mean, we have our own certified penetration testers in house. We also supply Cyber Essentials Plus, ISO 27001, and can support people through that process. And as part of that, we can make sure that, say, for example, if you have a web application, that you have the relevant penetration testing done to make sure that data within that application or people trying to access that application can't access the data within it. But that's what these businesses should be doing. They should be reaching out to independent industry professionals who have certified penetration testers. I mean, we've just had someone else in our office. I think it was even this past week who's passed their certified penetration testing course, and yeah, like people don't realize that this is the sort of thing that you need to be able to look into and you need to be able to do. Um, but yes, I think especially when vibe coding and creating applications that are going out to the public that potentially have data that could be accessed by third parties, yeah, partner with, if not ourselves, someone who can offer that certified penetration testing service.
We've just made an app that's, well, it's a web tool that allows people to measure their property. So
Yeah,
for our company, where we do exterior cleaning, they can measure their roof, they can measure their patio, their gutter, and it will come up with a price guide.
yeah,
Now, very careful in obviously what we've put into that, but that goes off and that will read a Google API
yeah,
because it's using Google Maps. It's it will send us an email to say that AJ's requested for his
yeah,
roof to be cleaned. Please get in contact. So, and it also sends yourself an email, but all
yeah,
of that is protected by security keys and the softwares that we use to make sure that you're not going
yeah.
to find the data.
And it's one of those things when you're developing these tools, as long as you have that understanding of, okay, is this requesting for information from someone that could potentially then be misused? Okay,
Yeah.
is that data then being stored somewhere? If it's not being stored, is it just being emailed to someone? Okay, potentially that's okay. If it's being stored in a database, does that database have the right security protocols in place to be able to protect that data? Could someone misuse API tokens to be able to go in and find further information? Like all of these sorts of things have got to be considered. And as long as, like you say, you've done that process when you're developing the tool to begin with, then you've got the right security in place to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. And it's making sure you protect your customer. Bottom line of it,
Yeah,
great tools are great, but at the end of the day, tools are nothing without a customer to spend the money with you.
exactly. Exactly. Moving on to the second news story now. We'll stay on the AI related news though, because Apple recently held their annual Worldwide Developers Conference where they showed off the new iOS, iPadOS, macOS all coming later this year. But as part of that, they also showed off their new Siri AI platform, which is partnered with Google Gemini, and they're using the Google Gemini foundation model, but hosted on Apple devices or within Apple private cloud compute infrastructure to maintain that focus on user privacy and data privacy for the users. There we go, going back to the previous topic there, and ensuring that no data is communicated with third parties without a user's consent. New features of the new Siri AI platform that uses this Google Foundation model include a dedicated Siri app, much like ChatGPT or Gemini is an app that could work on your device, but also synchronize across other Apple devices. There is contextually aware integration across multiple apps like Messages, Mail, Calendar, and different things like that throughout not only the Apple ecosystem, but also the wider app ecosystem, thanks to a new indexing system and a new API call into these applications. There are new photo features, including a significantly better cleanup tool that brings Apple in line with other leading tools from Samsung, Google, and even competing with third-party applications such as Adobe Lightroom and other AI models as well as a new extended frame and reframe tool that actually looks really interesting that allows people to even change the angle that was an image was taken with using generative AI. Looks really cool. I'll have to see it in practice to be able to see how well it works. Of course, as a photographer trained and also I've got a degree in photography, there is always this question of what is a photo now when it comes to using AI models for editing, of course. Um, but there's also automatically ways to secure accounts through Apple passwords, through agentic AI going into web-based accounts that you have to reset passwords that have been identified as insecure and even set up multi-factor authentication, which I thought was quite good. And of course, there's also other updates coming to the Apple ecosystem that are beyond those AI features. They even talked about the rounding of corners within applications of macOS, but that's not the point of this topic. It was mainly that I wanted to kind of raise about Apple now partnering with Google, who they already partner with as a default search engine for Safari, by the way, but now using that Gemini foundation model, which is used on Google Gemini on the web or on Google phones or other Android enabled phones, to be now the core of this Siri AI platform. I suppose, Stephen, do you think that Apple may now be giving up on making their own AI model? I know they were trying to do so for the longest time with Siri. Or are they just waiting now for other companies such as Google, such as OpenAI, to be able to develop their own models and make all of those big major developments first before going, okay, we're going to copy your homework and we'll do it ourselves again now? Like, are they making the right decision here by partnering with them, or is this just a stopgap solution, do you think?
Yeah, look, Google, Apple, two of the biggest companies in the world, aren't
Yeah.
they? Am I right thinking that Siri was the first phone that you could have almost an AI where you could say "Hello Siri" and it would probably set up all your devices now. Answers.
There's that many people just going, oh, for crying out loud, why did you say
Um,
that?
but I'm right thinking that, and I use Gemini quite a lot.
Yeah,
I'm a Google fan. I've just upgraded to a Google Pixel 10. Now with that, I talk to Gemini. Normally, um, just as the ideas are coming in my head when I'm driving, um, just talking to the phone, and it'll talk back, and then also transcribes everything we're discussing,
yeah.
so that it gets the ideas out of my head as they're there. And but I'm thinking like Siri kind of already had that. Um,
It kind of did, but it's always been like that. It's the inferior model, really.
right.
It started out more as an assistant, and it was
Okay.
never really an AI model. It's only in recent years where they've started trying to introduce more intelligence into the model, and even then, it's still not been the best, really.
Right.
Um, Even I'll now like, and again, my phone is being used by Steven to be able to see exactly what we're doing, so I don't want to trigger my own my own phone with this. But I can say to my phone or my smart speakers at home, "Hey, do this particular thing," and I'll still often get, "Oh, I can't do that. Would you like to search the web?" It's like, no, just do what I asked.
Gotcha.
Like I wanted it to summarize something like recently, and it was like, "I'm sorry, I can't do that. Would you like me to search the web?" So okay, no, okay, let me just get all of that information, let me paste it into another model and get that to summarize it instead, and then I'll do what I need to with it from there. It was a document about my son's autism pathway, and I was like, all I want to do is understand what the key points of this are, because it's like a 20-page document. And I'm
Wow.
like, okay, I'm not going to read all of that. Just give me the key points.
Yeah.
Thankfully, within all of my models that I use, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, I have training turned off. So I don't want any of that data that's in these documents I upload to be shared with anyone and any learning to be done off of the back of it. But I was like, I don't want to read these 20 pages. I just want to summarize it. But my AI on my phone could not do that. But
Yeah.
thankfully, with this new Gemini foundation model behind Siri AI, it will be able to do that. You'll be able to just have something on your screen on your phone and say, summarize this, or create all of the key points from this and send it in an email to so and so. And it will be able to understand contextually what is on your screen, what you're wanting to do with it, and what actions you want to then take with it off of the back of that.
So does that then bring the Apple phone in line with like the Google Pixel
It will.
capabilities, or
It
does it improve on what Google Pixel does because it's an Apple product?
So it will bring everything in line with what Google are doing with
Right.
Gemini on their phones. There will be certain things that, because it's not Google Gemini on iPhone. That's one thing that I suppose we need to identify, is it's not Google Gemini on iPhone. It's the core model that Gemini is built on,
Yeah.
but being built into the Siri platform. And what that means is that it enables all of this interaction and this ability to be able to work between multiple things and understand context of a particular user without it going out to the internet.
Gotcha.
But also, there are certain things inside the Gemini platform, for example, where you won't be able to do those things on iPhone. Where one of the new features that they announced, for example, was being able to create a Chrome companion that looks for ticket sales that are being released for a concert and then automatically book it for you when it becomes available. That's not something that you'll be able to do on iPhone. But what it means is that the basic functionality, what you would expect from a modern AI assistant and companion on your phone, will not only work seamlessly, but also be able to do a lot more as well.
That sounds great. I think that's, look, say Google's one of the largest in the world. They've, whilst their search stuff at the moment, I know we were chatting about this off camera, but they've laid billions and billions of cable around the world,
Yeah.
connecting the entire world. So
And
if they've
data
already got,
centers as well.
yeah, so they've already got the AI functionality within the Google and Gemini Foundation. Why
Yeah,
would you not partner with it? If that they've got it's already built, there's no point reinventing the wheel. If
exactly.
it's sat there, yes, you can tweak it and make it better. But I think it's great for Apple.
Yeah.
The product itself, Apple as a product is fantastic, and the fan base for it is incredible. I'm sat in your office, and every other device seems to be an Apple product in front of me. But
We have to say that it's just the marketing office that's mostly Apple. Everywhere else is mostly Windows. Although saying that, our CTO Tony runs a Mac,
right,
so
gotcha.
there we go.
But that's and there is a definite divide, isn't there, for any computer people that are that they're Mac or Windows.
Yeah,
There is obviously an overlap, but there is,
yeah. Or there's the Linux crowd as well. We have
yeah,
developers here that primarily Linux focused. So yeah, there's that few as well. But when we're talking about these AI platforms, yeah, it's mostly for desktop, it's Windows or Mac.
yeah.
Mobile, it's Apple or Android.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's great to see them working together, and hopefully, some of the features that Apple have got, maybe Google, you look to them and go, well, actually, that's a good feature. We'd like to have something like
Yeah.
that as well.
The other way around, as Google developed their models,
Yeah,
now with this partnership, that integration of the Gemini Foundation model will mean that Google going to use this money that Apple have given them now to be able to use the Gemini Foundation model. They'll invest that back into Gemini, and that what that means is that as Google develop new features, those new features can also then trickle down to iPhone as well, and
yeah,
Apple will implement them in their secure, user privacy focused ways.
yeah. Oh, perfect, perfect. That sounds great. Be interested to see what they do together now.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Just trying to figure out why my one of my screens just randomly lit up then for a minute. Everything seems to still be working, so let's keep
It's
going.
good. It's good.
But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see how the new Siri AI model develops. iOS and macOS 27, as it's going to be, which include this new feature, is currently in beta at the moment. And it will be released probably to users around September. I'm waiting on. I'll not do the very first public beta, but later in the public betas, probably around like August sort of time, I'll probably start testing it out on my own devices as well, so that I can give some proper feedback on it and things like that as well. Moving on to this third news story for today. Now, this could get a little bit challenging. So closer to home, the UK government have approved a ban on social media for under 16s starting by spring of 2027. The ban will include Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, X, and even YouTube, which is the craziest one on all of these. However, YouTube Kids will be exempt from the ban. Now, the challenge around this is that, of course, YouTube Kids is not aimed at 16-year-olds. It's aimed at much younger children. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with that. There are even early plans to place an overnight curfew and place preventions on infinite scrolling type applications such as TikTok and Instagram and things like that for under 18s as well. Additionally, there's also AI romantic companion chatbots, which are designed to simulate sexual relationships or role play with users. Those will have a minimum age enforcement of 18 on them as well. And other AI chatbots that are more widely used will be forced to restrict functionalities for under 18s, let's say. Um, the government have said that highly effective age assurance measures would be used to check that those using social media will be of age. This is probably going to be similar to online gaming platforms that have recently done this. So PlayStation, Xbox, even Discord have implemented face scans to be able to estimate the age of their users. There is also the question that I have now about the third-party age verification platforms that are scanning these faces and the security of these, because there's been a lot of different things in the news about how secure some of these platforms are, let's say. But one thing that is worth noting is that despite similar rules going into effect in Australia earlier this year, 70% of parents in Australia told their internet regulator that children were still on these platforms, which begs the question, is this ban going to be effective for under 16s, or will it just make children either migrate to less safe platforms or just find ways to get around the ban? I mean, what do you think, Stephen? Do you think they will be effective? Do you think that it will work? Or do you think that life will find a way, as the Jurassic Park saying goes?
There's I've got teenagers, and this is obviously something that's going to impact them. It's going to affect my younger child more than my 15, almost 16-year-old, because
Yeah.
I think it comes into play next year.
Yeah, spring 2027.
So he'll be older. He'll be past the 16 ban
Yeah.
by then. So a couple of bits in what you said there. So first of all, yes, I think the infinite scrolling is doom scrolling, isn't
Yeah.
it? And I think that's something that definitely needs to kind of go away. Maybe limit it to 5 or 10 before it stops, and then you have to refresh the screen.
Yeah,
Because then you're
even
not
just a
distracted.
button to be able to actually press to
Just
say
turn it off,
refresh
setting,
this. Yeah.
I think trying to get it so that I'm concerned about the facial scanning for all
Yeah.
of the deep fakes. If something's just scanned your face and it says, right, well, that's what you look like. Okay, we could use that face for
Yeah.
this, that, and the other.
A lot of these platforms say they only hold that data for a limited amount of time, but I think there's been some security research that said some of these hold it for a lot longer.
Yeah, but I think it's still, and there was always that kid when I was at school. There was always that kid when I was in like 14. I was always baby face. I still struggle to grow a beard now, but there was always that kid that was like 14 but
And look,
looked
21.
21. Yeah, exactly. You had the same guy in your school as well.
There's that one guy that I can remember. In fact, I'm still connected with him on LinkedIn now, and it's like he looked probably about 4 or 5 years older than everyone else.
Yeah, and I think that's always going to be the way. My, you know, getting the youngsters off their phones and getting them to go outside and do stuff,
Touch grass.
play on their bikes, go for a walk.
Yeah,
all these things are stuff that we used to do, and we were always like parents worried because we were out doing something, and now we've got our kids sat on a phone, and it's all right because they're in the house, but we don't know what they're seeing or consuming, and I think that's the biggest issue that I don't like, is that you don't know that you sat them on a device, they're there concentrating on this device.
yeah,
Scrolling, yeah, it seems to be targeting, like you mentioned, the Facebooks, the YouTube, the Instagram,
yeah.
but we know these platforms. Like, we grew up, I remember Facebook coming in, we grew up with these platforms, we know what it's got, we know what it does.
Yeah.
However, like you say, if you bar them from them, they go and find other platforms that we don't know. We don't know about them.
Yeah, we don't know how they're being used by other people, what protections are in place on those platforms.
And then that's a concern, isn't it?
Yeah.
What other information are you introducing them to? You mentioned something about romantic bots.
Yeah, romantic AI chatbots.
Well, if they got out and went and spoke to a human being, they wouldn't need a romantic
No,
chat.
exactly.
So yeah, yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there. What's to stop a child just putting in an older email address when they sign up for an email?
Yeah.
Nothing in the world.
No.
In which case they say, "Oh, I'm 20. Well, I'm 15, but
Oh,
actually now
the amount of
you're 20,
people,
I'm all right to go
yeah.
anywhere I want."
The amount of people that have incorrect birthdays on platforms like
Yeah,
Facebook just because they changed their age when they were trying to sign up to it just to get earlier access when
yeah.
it wasn't a thing.
No, exactly that. And I think, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. And this is where the big problem is that 70% of parents in
Yeah.
Australia have said there's no difference to our child. Well, hang on a minute. The government is trying to legislate a little bit like we talked at the beginning about the government in America setting on these issues on Anthropic.
Yeah.
Um, if the government have put it in place and said, right, we believe that children under the age of 16 shouldn't have access to this, but 70% of the parents in the public
Yeah.
are still saying it's made no difference. Well, hang on a minute. It can only lie with those parents,
Yeah.
because if you're not imposing those rules that are put forward and the curfews that are put forward and the suggestions to improve our children
Yeah.
or improve our younger generation, maybe not just our children, but our younger generation, then it's down to us as the elders in the group
Yeah, to be able to
to be able to
enforce that
support that and
and
enforce it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and generate those good behaviors in the younger generation. I mean, for ourselves, for example, I have some would say quite strict parental controls on our kids' devices. They can't go on certain platforms, they can't access certain types of content, and this will slightly change as they get older and things like that. But the important thing is that yeah, we make sure that they can't access social media. At the moment we make sure that they have very limited access to AI models
yeah,
because we want them to be able to get the right sort of education so that they're learning things rather than relying on these models.
yeah,
Then we're trying to, as much as possible, teach them about the responsible usage of AI as well. So yes, social media. I agree. Social media should be restricted, but the problem is that, like I said before, life finds a way. These children who are really, really I don't know, insistent is probably the right word on accessing these platforms will find a way to be able to do it.
yeah. Look, we've got looking at the NEETs, so that's not in education, employment, or training, is currently just over a million, due to hit 1.5
Yeah,
probably within the next 5 to 10 years. The most common thing that's happened in all of this is smartphone.
yeah,
Then we've all got them and we all sit in our house. We could be sat on TV. And so, for instance, last night, football was on TV. I had my phone in my hand. My wife was picking up her phone. Both my kids had their phones until they went off at 9 o'clock.
yeah,
That was, and it was just, you just look up and you all do this. If do it at home when you get there tonight, and you'd be sat there, and if TV's on or the advert's on, I would just check my phone. I just check my phone.
yeah,
There are ways on your phones that you can see how many times you've accessed it, how much time you
yeah.
spent on it,
Pickups
how many
per
times you've
hour,
unlocked it.
time on per hour, and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah,
and we're all guilty of that. So if we've got this forever doom scrolling, do you want to get up and go and do some work today? Or do you just want to sit in bed and just doom scroll? Oh, I'm all right. I'm just sat here and
yeah,
yeah, I'm okay. And it's not, I think, we have lost a lot of productivity and a lot of desire to get up and go to work and to do something because of the ability just to be able to sit and doom scroll
yeah,
rubbish.
yeah.
So, and there are some great content. This is great content, AJ. But it is very much a case of there is lots and lots of stuff out there that is just mind numbing.
Oh,
But it's
the
dopamine
amount of
effect.
AI generated content that's out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a little bit of fun with the thumbnail for today's episode,
Love that.
but like that is a little bit of fun. It's a single image that's trying to promote that connection, like what we've like connected with over the years, and your business and our business and things like that. But the amount of AI generated videos you see, like on Shorts and TikTok
Yeah.
and things like that at the moment, is I hate seeing it. I
Yeah.
hate seeing it. But
I was looking at an AI cat that's got a story on YouTube
yeah,
that has had over 6 million views,
oh
and
my
it's
god,
generated money. And it's a little story about an AI generated cat going about its day, having a little bit of trouble, and then So obviously somebody's made it, and it's great that somebody's had the creativity and the mind
Yeah.
to come up with that idea. But it's an AI generated cat going and doing something in
And
its
that
day.
person who's made that is probably raking it in right
Yeah, exactly
now.
that. Yeah, and people are working hard to earn
Yeah.
nowhere near the same money.
Yeah. I think the thing that I look at this. So when I was going through the platforms that are banned for or going to be banned for under 16s, the one that stood out as puzzling to me was YouTube.
Yeah,
Now, I don't get me wrong, I understand when they look at YouTube, they look at YouTube Shorts and they look at, yes, it's an infinite scrolling platform. Thankfully, YouTube are now putting in processes in place to restrict, even down to 0 minutes, the amount of time that someone can access shorts.
okay.
However, users can easily override that. There's just a button that you just press that says ignore this restriction for today. There's parental controls that are being put in place as well to be able to restrict the usage of shorts. But when I think about YouTube, I think about all of the educational content that's on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
The amount of videos that are on there that are teaching people. For myself, for example, I love to be able to watch tech YouTube, like learning new things about tech, new things about AI, new things about cybersecurity. Like, I love to be able to do that.
Mm.
But I feel that banning YouTube for under 16s is going to actually significantly hamper people's access to a lot of this educational style content.
Yeah, and also seeing what other things are available out there in the world.
Exactly.
You know, there was we did have an issue a little while ago with YouTube in our house, and I didn't realize it was just so there are videos out there, and I don't know who the creator is, but what you're watching on screen is a cake being made or something, some ASMR
Yeah.
imagery. That's what you're watching.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing on the screen. But actually, the audio that's coming through can
It's
be
completely
a
different.
completely different
Yeah.
story, and there's a lot of bullying and stuff that they're talking about,
Yeah.
and it just think, well, hang on a minute. I've asked my child who's watching this. They've got their headphones on. That I believe they're watching somebody making cakes. It's like, oh, that's good, but
Yeah.
actually, the story and
There's
the audio
the
narrative
audio
they're being put
behind
into their
it.
head
Yeah.
is very different, and I think that's really worrying. I think, you know, yeah, I think we can't. I say we can't just put it all on these big companies to do something.
No.
Yes, they have a social responsibility, but so do we as the elders in society. We need to
Yeah.
make sure this is right for everybody going forward.
I think that there definitely needs to be a balance.
Yeah,
Yes, I think that banning social media for under 16s, I agree with it. I think that the way that bullying culture has evolved since I was young, and the way that people are bullied more and more online at the moment, I agree that putting restrictions in place on that and putting restrictions on who can access social media
yeah,
and making it so that people are older and more responsible by the time they're using this platform. Yep, completely agree. However, like I say, there needs to be that balance with how people access other tools as well. Things like YouTube that can be used for education. Yes, probably the platforms themselves, like you say, they may need to put in better controls for the type of content that is on the platforms.
yeah,
So that when you do have these ASMR type cake, or I've seen like knife cutting glass or something like that. And anyway, when you see those things pop up and the audio is completely different to the content, yeah, there probably needs to be better restrictions onto like what people are doing with what they're posting onto these platforms.
yeah,
But that shouldn't then harm people accessing content that is genuinely useful.
yeah, yeah. And I think I don't know if the exact stats, but I remember hearing years ago it was like I think there's like 10 million uploads into YouTube every hour in
Yeah,
comparison to so to have you need an army of people to be able to actually review every individual video before it was released.
yeah,
Um, could AI do that now? Could it say, well,
it's
actually, the
already
image is
being
saying
used. Yeah,
it's cake making. This story doesn't match up with this,
yeah,
so no, that's like that. We're not going to put that
it's already
slide.
being used to an extent, but I think that yes, they need to improve it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've got that money from Apple now, so
Yeah.
invest
Let's just
in it.
reinvest that into YouTube instead. Let's move on to 3 very quick stories to be able to end. I ain't got any talking points on these ones. I just kind of wanted to raise them because I thought they were important, really. So, password manager maker LastPass are notifying customers that their personal information and customer support case records were stolen as part of a cyber attack on technology partners and market research firm Clue. That's Clue with a K, by the way. Recently, which also impacted a number of other businesses supported by Clue as well. Details that were breached include names, phone numbers, email addresses, physical addresses, customer support data, and more that could potentially be used in further phishing attacks against LastPass customers. However, customer password vaults and data within those vaults were not impacted by the breach. So, thankfully, people's passwords are secure, unlike the last LastPass cyber breach, I think.
So the
But
password protector's protected the password, but it hasn't protected their data.
yes, basically.
Fair enough.
Well, actually, it was one of LastPass's partners which was breached, which I suppose, yes, LastPass, it's not their responsibility, but maybe they should do a better job at assessing the security of their partners. We'll come back to that one shortly.
Yeah.
Next story. Older iPhones this past week with either the A12 or A13 processors were discovered to contain a security flaw, which is unpatchable by Apple, leaving users of older iPhone XS, XR, 11, and SE models vulnerable to this security flaw. However, it's worth noting that the attack requires the boot ROM of the device and would require attackers to have physical access to those devices to launch the attack. So, thankfully, these are older phones that aren't as readily available in the wild now. So it's less likely that people will be targeted in this type of attack, but it is out there. So if you do have one of those devices, it's probably worth either upgrading or making sure that you understand the security of your device a little bit more, especially if there's something on there that maybe you don't want other people accessing, let's say.
Gotcha.
And finally, this week in the news, 2 British cybercriminals from the Scattered Spider hacking group have pleaded guilty to the 2024 attack on the on the Transport for London service between August 29th and September 3rd, which cost, and this is a big amount, £39 million, and had a knock-on impact on up to 10 million people who had data stolen in the attack. A sentencing hearing for these 2 cybercriminals will be held on July 15th.
Wow.
So, yeah, heavy news this week. I suppose I'll say there's been a couple of weeks that have kind of built up, and I wanted to highlight those kind of 3 primary stories, but these 3 shorter ones, yeah, it's definitely worth people being aware of, especially if they're LastPass users, for example, being aware that people could be targeting them in phishing attacks.
Yeah.
But also, it's good to be able to see that these cyber criminals who were responsible for such a disruptive cyber attack back in 2024 are now being sentenced. So it'll be interesting because I think also one of those is identified being linked to an attack in the US, and the US are wanting to also be able to get hold of this person to be able to punish them necessarily as well. So yeah, we'll see on that one.
Yeah. What kind of punishment could they be looking at? Do you know, AJ?
It'll be jail time at the very least, and also there will be restrictions on access to technology off of the back of that, even when they are released
social
in the
media ban.
future. Not just that, being able to access computers as a whole.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there are people that who breach the Computer Misuse Act who have very strict restrictions on being able to access any forms of technology. Sometimes, like even as going as far as phones and computers in an office. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But I say the hearing for that's on July 15th.
Okay. Okay.
Moving on to the 24 tech topic of the week now. I got that one out. I thought I wouldn't be able to do so after. In fact, you can hear my voice is starting to strain a little bit from not being able to speak last week, but managed to get that one out. But this week, we're talking about compliance management. But compliance with what? We touched on it a little bit earlier in the show. So we're talking about compliance with industry standards and regulations and certifications, such as Cyber Essentials Plus, and ISO 27001, or IEC 27001 as well, should I say. Compliance management isn't just really about passing an assessment to gain one of these certifications. It's about making cybersecurity and information security and data security within a business a part of everyday business operations. Cyber Essentials gives businesses recognized UK government backed cybersecurity baseline and shows to clients and customers that people are following these minimum standards. Cyber Essentials Plus adds an independent technical verification for these as well. And ISO 27001 goes even further by focusing on full information security management systems, including risk management, policies, governance, evidence, continual improvement of the data that businesses hold. TwentyFour supports businesses by first reviewing where they are today, identifying gaps across technologies, processes, policies, access rights, even software patching, identity access management, multi-factor authentication, documentation, and how evidence is gathered for all of these as well. And then from there, our team ensures that businesses have the right tools and controls and structures in place to ensure that they're ready to become certified for Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus and 27,001. I feel like I'm going to be repeating those over and over again. But also making sure that beyond the initial certification, those controls are being maintained throughout the business. They're regularly reviewed, they're relevant for a long time after certification, and that through continual improvement and as standards change, they can become recertified come the time of a review. When we talk about compliance, it's not just that tick box exercise to become certified. Standards, threats, systems, people even change over time, and businesses need ongoing evidence collection and be able to stay up to date with these policies and keep track of risk, keep track of access management and technical monitoring to stay aligned and reduce the complexities come the time of renewal. So 24 IT services, we're currently supporting, I think, about 7 or 8 businesses through the Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus process at the moment. We've recently supported businesses such as Systems Advice Doncaster, for example, to be able to achieve Cyber Essentials Plus as well. And very soon, will become an awarding body for Cyber Essentials as well, probably within weeks, actually. At the moment, we're supporting businesses through these and making sure that they have the right controls and technical controls in place to become certified. And like I say, we will soon be able to certify and also work with independent auditors to be able to audit for these as well. And I suppose, Stephen, coming back to yourself for this, is that we're seeing a major trend in our industry at the moment where once upon a time, people, businesses like yourself, for example, would come to us and say, I need IT support. I've got all these IT systems, and that was their primary concern. But we're now seeing more businesses come to us than any ever before, really, saying, "Oh, I'm going in for this tender process, and they're asking that I need to be Cyber Essentials certified or to show that I'm following industry standards of cybersecurity." Is this something as part of your business that you're coming across now when you're working with suppliers and vendors and going in for tenders potentially as well? That are you seeing a shift where people are saying, okay, well, if you're working with us, you need to be secure?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I think we are definitely seeing that more and more. A lot of the tenders that I look at are all asking that question now. Are you cyber essentials or ISO 27001
Yeah,
certified? And I think that's historically, when things have gone wrong for companies, it's not necessarily a direct attack on them.
no,
So, for instance, the LastPass, it wasn't a direct attack on LastPass, it was
it
an
was a
attack on
supplier.
a
Yeah,
supplier that's managed to get into there.
yeah,
And I think for, someone like ourselves, we are, we do cleaning. It's the easiest job in the world for people to go out and do. Something's dirty, you make it clean.
yeah,
That's There's no middle ground. It's either clean or not clean. It's nice and straightforward. But the amount of clients and people that we work with, we are probably the lowest down on the chain of people that they would speak with.
yeah,
However, we work with some amazing clients, and
yeah.
it unfortunately does expose potential to making sure that we're protected. So
Yeah, even just
that's
having
certainly,
things like email security in
yeah,
place to make sure that people can't gain access to your emails and then use that to target one of your customers, for example.
yes, yeah. So we regularly have phishing email sent through to us as a test bed
Yeah.
for all of our team, making sure that our team are aware of what it looks like a phishing email, and they're getting really good now.
Yeah.
Some of
And
them,
it's
unless you
AI advancements as well, but part
oh
of that.
yeah, and some of it's like we had one come in this morning to one of the girls in the office that said um, to do with your wages from HMRC, and she was like, "Do I need to look at this?" Like, no, that's definitely a official one.
Yeah.
They're not going to message you on your work email for something that you could sit and ask the boss about.
Yeah.
We could, so they are getting very more and more sophisticated, and I think it's the whole education piece, isn't it? You can go to the insurance company and say, right, we want to be covered for cybersecurity. Brilliant. Yeah, there's your policy. Pay us our money. Happy days. But actually, if you're not don't have the training,
And the
the awareness, the
certifications. Yeah.
certification behind it, then your insurance isn't going to be paying out.
It's like trying to get home insurance, and the insurer turns around to you and says, "Yeah, that's brilliant. We can insure you. Have you got a home alarm?" No. Well, we're not going to insure you then.
Yeah, yeah. Why should we protect you if you're not actually protecting
Yeah,
yourself?
exactly. So
Yeah.
you've got to make sure that you have those sorts of processes in place if you want to be able to have that sort of coverage through
Yes, definitely,
insurance.
definitely. And the compliance stuff, it's making sure we're all doing our piece.
Yeah,
If we're all doing our bit to try and make sure that we're protecting not just ourselves, but also the clients and everybody we work with, it certainly sets us apart from just being, a smaller business, a one-man band that's got certain capabilities.
yeah,
We're a team now. We've got 14 members of staff. I've got
yeah,
7 vans out on the road. We are up and down the country doing cleaning work, and it is incredible some of the clients that we work with. But every single person in the organization needs to be aware that actually these are the things that would catch you out. So,
yeah,
like I say, the phishing emails, we regularly have them come in, and they are a training exercise. And if you get caught out, touch wood, that's not happened to me yet. But if you get caught out, it says it comes up and says this is a phishing email. You've been caught by,
yeah.
and it is
Please do
it's a
this
training
training.
thing. Yeah.
Please look at this. Make sure that you look at links and URLs and things like that, and the type of messaging and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's important just to be aware because it's so easy now. Everyone's so busy. Back to the amount of times we're on our phone. We were talking about that earlier. That something comes into your phone, you're like, oh yeah, oh no, it's not. And
Yeah,
it's just not worth the risk. Just taking a
yeah,
step back and thinking, hang on a minute, would that person actually ask me to do that? Um, yeah, text message for you. You get an email off the boss that says, please order me tickets to the
yeah,
Maldives. Hang on a minute, let me just text the boss to see if that's
yeah.
right.
Or what's one of the other common ones? Gift cards. Can you go out and buy 20 Apple gift cards? I want to give them as gifts to the employees or something
Yeah,
like that. It's like, it sounds reasonable at first glance, but come on, like,
yeah,
question it.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And that's the thing, isn't it? We certainly with our organisation, we are whilst we're a 14-man team at the moment, and we are growing.
Yeah,
Um, we're all approachable. You can pick up the phone to any of us, or even just come into the office and see us, and
yeah,
we're all there to ask the question of. You don't have to rely on the fact that we're going to send you a random email on a random Wednesday. That's
yeah,
just not going to happen. Um, but it's making those people aware that we've all got our place to
yeah,
part part to play in this about protecting not just our company but also
yeah.
our clients' companies that we work with as well.
You've got to remember as well that as humans, we are the most vulnerable part of any cybersecurity
Oh yeah,
strategy.
yeah,
Like, we are the most prone to being exploited in cybersecurity, and we need to play our part and have the right education. I suppose the wider question from this then is, do you think that businesses showcasing not only to clients but publicly as well, that they follow at least the basic industry standards of cybersecurity through Cyber Essentials, let's say, will help more businesses throughout the UK present a better cybersecurity posture and hopefully reduce the amount of cyber attacks? I mean, what was it? 43% of UK businesses over the last 12 months were impacted by some form of cyber attack.
well,
Like,
that seems like a very high number.
yeah, but only about 3% of businesses are Cyber Essentials certified.
So the Cyber Essentials certification, I think, is a great thing to have. Um, I think it should be a something that you convey to your clients.
Yes.
Um, I'm not 100% sold on it being something that you put on your website to publicize. And the
Yeah, I
reason
suppose
being,
not necessarily, but I think having it there.
yeah. So
Yeah,
making sure your team are aware. So like a little bit like you've got, as I say, you've got that protection in the
yeah,
background. So we had, um, we've recently taken on a new business.
yeah,
I've we're in the process of starting to build up another website for this, and it's well, not had teething issues, but I've been waiting for the hosting provider. The hosting provider messed it up on installing the
yeah.
WordPress. So I then got an email come through to the email address that I've set up with this, saying um, this has been picked up by, we've had a random email, you know, would you like this, would you like that, and they've picked it up via the original Hello World post.
All right.
That when you put a WordPress site
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
that's the first thing he gives you, that
yeah,
the template for that. For the Hello World post, you get the sample page,
yeah,
and you get the this is a comment. But somebody's obviously gone in looking for that, or searching the web for Hello World post.
yeah. Just because it's an easy one that people can
Exactly
just
that.
forward slash, like, it's one for them to search for.
So
Yeah,
could it be something that, you know, if it's got your cyber essential certified badge on your site, again, I suppose depends what you tag it or you
yeah,
name it for them to find it. But if there's a search that people go, oh, actually, they say they've got this, let's try them.
yeah.
I don't know. I would much rather it be, we know we're certified,
And that
we've
you
got it in
can
the background,
convey
and then
that
work.
to potential clients when they
Yeah, so
request for it.
protected.
Yeah,
Knowing that actually somebody might go onto our website, and if we do happen to get a phishing attack, or you know, somebody, a malicious attack, I think
yeah,
is probably the best way. The different ways they do it, then we've got the safety and security in the background that is protecting us.
yeah.
A little bit of that chainmail armor, if you like, behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I suppose it's how we always word it, that for cybersecurity, it's a layered approach. You have to make sure that you have the email protection in place, you have
Yeah,
the endpoint security in place, you have the network security, the zero trust protection, the device security, and like I could keep listing these forever and ever and
yeah,
ever, but um, there does need to be a layered approach. But also, you don't want to try and make people try to target you or try to exploit you, because as we've been able to establish, like Windows, for example, there's a reason why they release security updates as often as they do, because there are security holes that are found that need patching. And when cyber criminals find these holes, they will try to exploit them.
yeah,
So making sure that, yes, you follow the basic processes of cyber essentials is a good thing, but unless you have the right management and right security in place behind that as well, because, like, I don't know, if you've got endpoint security and email security and multi-factor authentication and you follow those basic controls of cyber essentials, yes, you could get certified. But if you don't have the management of cybersecurity and a more comprehensive approach to how cybersecurity is configured throughout the business, potentially you could still be vulnerable.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, I think that make businesses becoming cyber essentials, at least, if not cyber essentials plus certified, is going to help create a better security posture throughout the UK, and can hopefully reduce that 43% number down to a lot lower.
yeah,
But also, yeah, like, if you go in for particular contracts in tender processes, I mean, if you go in for a government contract nowadays, you have to have cyber essentials as a minimum. There's like, I think there's no two ways about it. You have to have cyber essentials nowadays.
yeah,
Um, so I think that, yes, it can help people in the long term to become more secure, and I'm all for it. And as a business, like I say, we're making sure that we're investing in that to be able to help people gain these certifications and become more secure off of the back of it.
yeah. Right.
But yeah, that's kind of the tech tip topic of this week. And moving into the last segment of the show now, Stephen, last time we had you on last year, you were doing something a little bit different. And
Yeah,
since then, you've joined Lex, and you seem to be, in the business off the back of it, seem to be going from strength to strength to strength. So you talked a little bit about you growing and a little bit about the type of work that you do, but tell us, I mean, tell us more about Lex. Tell us more about what you do, how you work with businesses, not only locally, but nationally as well. And yeah, go for it, I suppose.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, so last year I was working for myself, trying to help support businesses and helping them grow and get find their way uh, in the online world. And then I met John Owens at Lex, and Yeah, got on really well with John. I like the idea and what he wants to create with Lex. We've got so Lex Hygiene is our main company. We do air ventilation, grease extraction, cleaning. We do fire damper testing. So back to compliance. So
Yeah,
compliance for your internet. This is compliant for um, hospitality, catering venues, manufacturing plants, making
yeah,
sure that fire dampers. There's 25 million fire dampers in the UK.
yeah,
They need to be checked every year. Grease extraction, your air ventilation, again, all needs to be checked. So it's very much a needed service, and
yeah.
making sure you protect it, because if you don't have the service done, you have an issue in the property. Let's say a fire, touch wood, it never happens, but if you have a fire happen and your insurance can turn around and say, well, when was it last cleaned? Oh, we've not had it
Yeah.
cleaned. Unfortunately, not only you just lost your business, but the insurance isn't going to pay you out either.
Goes back to
So
that alarm insurance
yeah,
analogy that we've just
exactly
had.
that. Yeah.
If you don't have these things serviced and something happens, then it's your fault, really, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's a really big thing. So, um, so Lex, that's our main business. We've been doing that for about 10 years now. So yeah, we're in our 10th year now, actually.
Yeah.
Um, we've also got Blue Whale, which if you live in Doncaster, you probably see our vans running around. We've got a massive Blue Whale. They're completely wrapped, and we do exterior cleaning. So from your roof, your gutters, windows, driveways, patios.
Or pressure washing me in the face for a thumbnail.
Yeah, pressure washing in the face. Yeah, we didn't do that. That health and safety. We did not do that. That was an AI generated image. I must say that.
We've got to have a bit of fun with it. Come
Yeah,
on.
probably front page by the end of the day you watch. So exterior cleaning. So we've got our pressure washers. We've got our soft wash system, which is a chemical wash that helps clean and rejuvenate cladding and roofs, and it's a great system. We also do DOF cleaning, which is a low pressure steam cleaning
All right.
used by the National Trust. So if you've got a heritage building, I know we've got a lot of them in Doncaster, we can help clean them up. I say we're a local based business.
Is that specifically targeted for listed buildings then, or is
Yeah,
it for?
it's very soft cleaning. It's about 900 psi rather than a
All right.
pressure washer running between 2 and 3,000 psi, which will blow holes in bricks.
Yeah.
If if so when you're doing sandstone and stuff like that, you want the steam, you want the heat to help
Yeah.
clean it, not loads of pressure. So that is something we've invested in for making sure we can do those types of jobs to help people and help businesses out. So they were the two things that we had when I first started, and great products, love them.
Yeah.
Again, it's something everybody needs. In beginning of this year, we've actually gone and bought another business, and it's an existing Doncaster business. The gentleman that we've purchased it from
Right.
is now retiring. So, well, he says he's retiring. He turns up to work every day. But we can now offer. So we've bought a company that offers pest control.
All right.
It also offers building sparkle cleans, builders cleans. So
Yeah.
if you've got a new building you're renovating, or we can clean it up ready to be opened. And we also offer some preventative maintenance drainage services. That's more to do with, like, if you've got rats getting into your building,
Yeah.
where are they coming from? If it's coming through the drainage, and we need to have a look in there and see what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what that's for. We don't want to be a 24-hour sort of emergency drainage company.
No.
It's more to add on. So if you Lex Hygiene, we're all about hygiene and making sure things are clean.
Yeah.
So now with these additional services, we offer a complete hygiene clean, both interior and exterior of your building, from the
Yeah.
roof down to the gutter, down to the sewer, protecting, making sure that all the things
Yeah.
that could potentially shut your business down.
It's adding value. It's like that more rounded approach to make
Yeah.
sure that you've got all those bases covering you. You're that one-stop shop, really, for people to come to.
Exactly that. So, if you've got my ideal customer, I suppose, if we were for how I envisage this working, is it, a hotel or a food factory,
Yeah.
that's got a requirement for the gutters to be emptied once a year. They've got windows that need to be cleaned. They want the exterior of their building looking nice. They've got we're cleaning the ductwork internally as well. We're doing some bakeries at the moment. We've got the pest control. We can take care of that. So all those little bits that, if you haven't got the compliance sorted, and making sure that not only have you got the preventative maintenance in place, like your cybersecurity stuff,
Yeah.
if you haven't got the things in place to protect your business that's certified, that's compliant with legal standards in the UK, potentially you're leaving yourself open to
Yeah.
fines, being shut down. It's almost like cybersecurity, but old school, because this is actually physical things you can touch.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
it's all these things that people need to be aware of, and it varies per industry as well. Like you say, for hospitality, will be completely different to an office environment, but
yeah,
it's about making sure that you can tailor the solutions, and that you, again, like you say, that you're that one stop shop that people can come to and say, "This is my scenario. I want to be able to do this.
yeah.
Can you provide this as a service?" And making sure that you've got the ability to be able to do so.
Yeah, exactly that. And for a local company, we've worked so far with Business Doncaster and Advanced Doncaster. They've been really helpful with us, um, and some of the training that they've got available and that they can help introduce you to has been really good.
Yeah,
So they're helping us with regards to training, recruiting, and upskilling local members of staff,
yeah.
which again is fantastic for Doncaster because there's so much potential here.
Oh yeah.
And you know, touch wood. I think hopefully cleaning and cleaning buildings is probably the last thing AI is going to get to do.
Yeah, I
Um,
can't imagine AI will be taking over that anytime soon.
no,
Although
drones are coming for.
I was about to say, I've seen the drone cleaning, but what was it? What I was looking at the other day, there was someone showcasing a drone cleaning solar panels. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah,
I thought that was really interesting, but it was still being controlled by a person.
yeah. So in order we've looked into this. One, they're 5 figures to buy a drone that
Yeah,
can do that. So it's a couple of members of staff
yeah.
first of all. Um,
Oh yeah, because when you're operating a drone, you need to be, and especially for solar panels as well, you're not going to have loss, which is line of sight.
yeah,
So you need to be able to have someone who's operating and someone who has line of sight on the drone at that point in time
yeah.
as well.
You also need to have, depending on the size and weight of the drone, a drone license. So all of
Yeah,
a sudden you
PIFCO,
become a
permission for commercial operation.
yes. So there's so much extras that go into that. I think in order for us to bolt that onto our business right now, we're probably talking in the region of about 150K, which is that's a fair few members of staff
Yeah,
employed that could go up in a cherry picker and
yeah,
clean it.
yeah.
Which
Cheaper option.
yeah, and you're going to get the right job because the problem with the drone is it doesn't have a brush. It's just
Yeah,
jetting water.
just
at it.
jetting. Yeah,
And again, you're relying on the pressure. What happens if my man's in a cherry picker and he's got his harness on,
yeah,
he's connected to the cherry picker, he's got a physical connection. Short of the cherry picker running out of fuel and leaving him up in the sky, we can deal with that.
yeah.
If the drone hits something or just fails and smashes into the building, there's so much red tape around
Oh
that,
yeah,
and we've looked at this for some of the high-rise buildings. We don't have many here in Doncaster at the moment. I know they're building a couple. But if you go over to Sheffield, where we're talking, they've got some not quite skyscrapers, but they're 16,
a
17
lot, much,
stories
much
high.
larger buildings at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to stand on the middle of some of those roundabouts in Sheffield putting a drone up. That's just trouble waiting to happen. I don't know an insurance company will probably cover us to do
yeah.
that, in all fairness. But there's just so much other health and safety stuff that needs to be taken in consideration for doing that. Whereas, say, cleaning, and these are great jobs. We're seeing a real influx at the moment of people wanting to get involved in our duct cleaning services, getting involved in doing the exterior cleaning pathways as well that we have,
Mm.
because one, the weather's lovely, so being outside working now is beautiful.
Yeah, well, the heat might not be for some people.
Well, there is
but
that.
yeah, it's definitely nice at the moment.
Yeah, but it is something that you could go and do, and it's not for everybody, but it is something that we certainly enjoy. Our teams enjoy doing, and as I say, it's another avenue of people getting off their phone, stopping their scrolling, doing a hands-on physical
Yeah.
job that not only is good for their physical well-being, but their mental well-being as well.
Oh, definitely.
And not trying to make it sound really super simple, but if it's dirty, you're cleaning it.
Yeah.
That's nice and straightforward.
Yeah.
And the results that we've had of some of the things some of the driveways, the patios, the roofs we've cleaned have just been incredible. So, if you
And it's
haven't gone on,
employing
I've seen
local
some of the
people
pictures.
as well at the end of the day,
Yeah.
isn't it? And feeding back into that local economy and supporting local
Yeah, keeping
businesses.
was it the pink pound? I think they called it.
Yeah.
Keeping it local and spending local. If they're earning local, they're spending local, they're living local.
Yeah.
Then you're doing the right thing. But that said, I've got a team at the moment that are on their way down to Essex to go and do some work for one of our clients down there. So that's a night or two away. But we work all across the country,
Yeah.
and some phenomenal clients, really, really phenomenal
Yeah,
clients.
it's good to see that the business is growing and that, like I say, you're able to work not only with local businesses but businesses nationally. I mean, like ourselves, we're growing at a fantastic pace at the moment. We're supporting people now in 19 countries, so it's good to see local businesses who are seeing that success and seeing that growth from the work that they're doing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We're not quite in 19 countries yet, but
you might want to have a couple
it'll
of
be good.
people. You can just imagine someone like turning around and saying, "I'll have 2 nights in Spain to clean that."
Yeah. Oh, and they said if the opportunity came up, we'd find a way to make it happen. But
Exactly.
if you need cleaning worldwide, let us know. We can help you out.
Yeah, might not be the cheapest in the world, but they'll be able to do it when you add on the flights and everything.
Yeah, yeah, and getting the equipment out there.
Exactly.
Probably end up on a ferry. To
But
drive
still,
up.
you have the ability to be able to do it, and
Yeah,
that's the thing at the end of the day, isn't it? Is that you've invested, like I say, not only in the people but in the business to be able to develop a fully rounded service that, like I said earlier, it's that one stop shop that people can come to and have all of the relevant services that they need from you. I'm just seeing a message pop up from, let's have a look. Dean Cook. Fascinating to hear you both talk about drones. The new government rule changes made it so that drones cannot exceed 120 meters height from the ground. Just need to upgrade my drone license so that I can click a button to log in and either get to fly higher instantly. Am I reading that wrong? Wait a minute. I just need to upgrade my drone license so that I can click a button to log in and either get to fly higher instantly or request to fly higher than the new standard in certain zones. So yeah, there are a lot of changes happening in the drone industry at the moment, drone licensing. I know back when I got my permission for commercial operation, that's completely changed since I got my permission for commercial operation. I'd probably need to redo my certification now as well. So
yeah. No, that's really interesting. It's
yeah,
well, I think there was a. I can't remember where in the country. I don't know if you know AJ, but I know Amazon were doing some drone delivery testings in the
yes,
UK.
they've done it in a few locations, and I think if I remember rightly, one of the ones that they were looking at originally testing was Doncaster, and I
Okay.
think when they were looking at doing the testing, and then everything happened with the airport and the local airspace,
Yeah.
plans were put on hold. But I
Okay.
know that they have tested it in a few areas of the UK, and also they've tested it elsewhere in the world. Not only Amazon, but also in the US. I think even companies like Walmart have tested it as well. So
Oh wow. Okay. So that could be something that comes.
yeah,
And the beauty of being in Doncaster is it's very flat here. So hopefully that should be all right for getting the drone deliveries out to your house.
exactly. And we're a transport hub for basically all of the UK. And
Yeah.
once we have the airport reopening and being able to have cargo freight coming in and out, it'll make things even easier. So
Yep. Yep. There'll be lots more stuff being delivered to her home then. That's
exactly.
exactly what we need.
Exactly. Easier ways to be able to have things delivered in under 30 minutes.
Yes.
But no, thank you very much for coming out today, Steve. And it's been fantastic to be able to hear your thoughts on, well, not only the AI and cyber news and changes to social media and things like that, but also hear about what you're doing at Lex at the moment and how the business is growing and developments that you've been putting in place. I think that things like the tool that you've been able to develop to be able to quote through Google Maps and stuff like
Yeah.
that to be able to see areas and sizes of buildings and stuff like that. That's really interesting. It's really interesting to hear how local companies are using new technology to be able to progress and feeding better productivity, feeding better efficiency, and just yeah, grow and become better as a result
Yeah,
as well.
well, that tool came about one because we want to make it easier for our clients to understand obviously what their costing is going to be. When I first started with Lex, I had a couple of instances where we get a phone call. Yeah, no problem. We'll come and do a survey. We drive out, do a survey. Now that might be 10 minutes away, it might be
Yeah.
45 minutes away, but we need to physically go out to site and have a look at the property.
Yeah.
And we still do that. It's just moves further down the process now.
Yeah.
So what the tool allows, and it sits on our website as our online quoting tool, it allows the customer to go on to input some of their details. They then map out their property.
Yeah.
Because, Google Maps is great and we can look at that and go, oh, we think it's this much. But actually, your property. So if there's been any developments, if you've had any, a new patio or driveway or an extension put on, what the boundaries are. I had one the other day was, what we looked from Google Maps, a massive patio area.
Yeah.
But actually, it's 3 small patio areas with a lot of gravel. Well, we don't pressure wash gravel; it'll go everywhere. Block paving, we can deal with that. Indian sandstone, we can deal with that. But what it allows, it means that the customer can be at home. They can map out their area. It gives them 3 prices. You get the standard price, which is our basic service. You get a premium product, which is our increased services on there. So and then you've got the platinum, which is kind of everything.
Yeah.
But because you've now got 3 prices sat in front of you, you're able to make a decision. 1, can I afford it?
Yeah.
2, what level of service do I want to have without having a salesman knocking on your door? Oh, yeah, it's going to cost you this much. Oh, I think it's going to be, you can make a decision. And then we're having the conversation, right? You've got your price. Yes, I'd like to arrange a survey. So we'll go out to site. So if you said, let's say we come to you, AJ, and you said, right, I want my roof cleaned, conservatory done, I want my patio done. You've gone onto our tool. We would direct you to our tool as well. And we'll use it on ourselves in the office. And we'll say, right, you're looking between £800 and £1,200 for that property to be cleaned. And you go, okay, yeah, that's not a problem. Can I book a survey? Yeah, brilliant. Well, we know we're coming out to see you. You've already got a ballpark figure of what it's
you've got
be.
the estimate at that point, haven't you?
It's up to you to make a decision. Yeah. Do you want it cleaned this way and it's £800, or do you want all the bells and whistles and it's £1,200?
Yeah.
It's up to you to make the decision. We've got the service we can provide. But it's also taking away that, say, the pressure from
it's reducing the barrier to entry. And that's how you can get more people through the door quicker and easier, I suppose, really, isn't it? And that's part of the reason we redesigned our website recently. We wanted to reduce the barrier to entry for people to be able to contact us. And even just this week alone, after relaunching the website only a few weeks ago, we've had 3 different inquiries from businesses throughout the UK saying, oh, really want to find out more about these services. And
fantastic.
It's good to be able to see more people now coming than was previously.
Yeah, brilliant.
And like you say, having the tools that you've got now with that online estimation service is going to make it much easier for people to be able to go, you know what, I think that could be a good price for me.
Yeah.
But no, thank you very much for coming out and talking about all of that today. It's been great to hear, and it's. I suppose you're coming back for next season.
Definitely. Let's put in as a regular slot.
No, it's been
next then.
Yeah, exactly. It's been really good to be able to talk to you today. So thank you very much, Stephen, for joining us today, and hopefully everyone has a fantastic week. And I'll see you soon.
Brilliant.
Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you very much for your time, mate. Thank you very much.
All right.
Take care, everybody. Bye.